No one was there to teach me or be an example. It was really trial and error in my own life. And I fucked up a lot, you know? And for me, speaking about my testimony has been therapeutic. It's been like, I grew up and everyone thought I was the black sheep, that I wasn't going to be shit. And I went through a phase where that's what it was looking like. I was a drug addict. I was homeless. You know, it looked like I wasn't going to be anything. And the turnaround that I've made and being able to share that experience with people, it's really just been healing for me. And I think to myself, like, I love to get in front of the camera and share my testimony, because you know how many people probably felt like me, that they don't got nobody, you know, example, no glimpse of hope. I went into my healing process thinking to myself, I don't even know if there's light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know a better life than this. All I know is being a fuck up. All I know is depression and darkness and hood culture. That's all I know. And I went into healing blind, and to see that light at the end of the tunnel, I was like, there's no way I cannot talk about this. There's no way I can't be vulnerable and share my experience, because someone out there is going to feel it, even if it's just one person.
What's up, Raza? Welcome back to the Valley Vibes podcast. I am your host, Roman, and in today's episode, we sit down with the host of the ForTheSouls podcast, Ayme, aka the Spiritual Thug. This is a really special episode because Ayme is a very powerful woman, very strong woman that she overcame drug addiction. She overcame homelessness, sexual abuse. And instead of having a victim mentality, she decided to empower herself, not just herself, but others through all the obstacles life has thrown at her. She decided to speak out, and through her testimony has really given a lot of people courage. She's very raw. She's very authentic. I'm pretty sure you guys are going to see all that in this episode. And it's very inspiring, quite honestly, to anybody, that no matter what life throws at you, to keep going, keep moving forward. Like, don't give up, basically. She's a mother. She's a wife. Congratulations, by the way, to you and Marco. I know it's really recent, and los felicito. Échale ganas. Person you see on camera and on her pages is the exact same person she is in real life. So that's really cool to know. And her TikToks, Instagrams, hundreds of thousands of views, over 15,000 followers just on Instagram, and all her platforms, her podcasts. If you want to connect with her, it'll be down below. But without further ado, I hope you guys really enjoy this episode. Ayme, bienvenida.
Thank you.
So you have a powerful story, and you have a very tough upbringing, and we've been trying to do this for quite a while. Like, we postpone after postpone, but that's life, though. Yeah. That's life, and I'm happy that you're here now.
No, thank you. I've been wanting to connect with you for a while, just because, you know, we need raza representing raza.
Exactly. Raza representing raza.
But we kept hitting bumps in the road. If it was my kids sick, it was me sick, and it was the engagement party, wedding. So, yeah.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you.
To you and Marco, no?
Yeah.
How many years?
So we have 10 years together.
Wow. That's...
Oh, shit.
Nah, that's crazy, because I say that nobody lasts 10 years. Oh, yeah. They're lucky if they last 10 months.
Especially in today's day and age.
That's something we need to talk about.
Yes.
But before we get into relationships and everything, where are you from?
So I'm from Sacramento, California.
916?
916. I was raised... I grew up in Sacramento, moved to Galt, so I'm familiar with the 209, and then I moved back to Sacramento and finished out like high school, young adult life, all of that in Sacramento.
Young adult life. Mm-hmm. So what type of girl were you in, like, coming up, growing up?
Oh, shoot. Okay.
Preppy, the girly girl, the bookworm, the out and about.
Honestly, I feel like a little bit of everything. If we're talking about like when I was little, like little, I was always very emotional, very outgoing, very adventurous. I always was wanting to be roughhousing with the boys or climbing trees or climbing buildings. Yeah, when I got to like my adolescence and 13 years old, I got a little bit crazy, and it was more so me finding my voice. And by that time, we were back in Sacramento, and it was a real big culture shock for me to move to Galt because I felt like Sacramento, I was a little bit hood, a little bit ghetto. For real. No.
Now you need that out here. You need that.
And then I came to Galt and it was like real. I mean, Galt's like a small Republican American town. I think that's their slogan, isn't it? Like Great American Little Town or something like that.
I stay on this side.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure. So for me, it was really different. I was like one of the Mexicans that were there that was a lot more ghetto.
Ghetto.
So then moving back to Sacramento, it kind of just felt like I'm right back to where I belong. So, you know, I started kicking it with all kinds of people, drug dealers, gangbangers, everything. And I never involved myself like in any gangs or nothing like that because I was always just like, I'm about my monies and I'm cool with everybody all the time. But I was always fighting, always getting into some bullshit.
Why do you think young adults or young kids get involved in that? Do you think it's because they want to be part of something? They have no sense of direction? Like looking at it from an older perspective now, do you regret it? Do you not regret it? What do you think about that?
Well, for me in my life, I don't have nothing that I regret. Good and bad, everything that I've gone through has made me the person that I am, has given me the wisdom that I have. But I will say, for me, I was lacking that connection and love in my family. I grew up very different than my siblings. So me coming out here, being in the street, doing hood shit, that was, to me, it was a thrill. And back then I was so depressed and I was so upset with life that I didn't give a fuck to throw my life away. Like I didn't care if I'm gonna be in a situation where I'm gonna lose my life or get locked up. Like it was never something that I consciously thought about because I was very much like, fuck it, I'm ready to die regardless. So who gives a fuck, right? I actually feel like it's more prevalent now than it was back then. And I feel like I'm seeing a lot more people that grew up privileged wanting to act like they're from the hood or from the streets or that they're like up on game. And it's really watered down the like code of honor that we once had. Like there was a respect that used to be in the street that is not there anymore.
You mean like the respect? I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Come on.
Like I could give you an example. Like you see someone in a car, right? All these young kids, they'll be like, "Oh, I'll shoot you with whatever in traffic," whoop, whoop, and they don't care about kids or innocent people. Back then, we used to like, you need to run a fade. You shake hands after, no guns involved, type of shit. Now it's like, I see that the weakest people are the loudest people and they're always the first to shoot, not because they're the hardest, but because they got something to prove, because they didn't grow up like that. When you grew up involved in that stuff, you kind of have like this respect for the struggle. And it's kind of like you might beef with somebody, you might not get along with somebody, guys might throw hands, but at the end of the day, everyone's just trying to get ahead.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
And now it's real reckless.
To add on that, the one respect or rule code of conduct I remember was like family and being out and about. What that I mean, like some of my homies were fathers, right? And or my cousins or whatever. And when they were out and about in like a grocery store, at a park, and as long as they were with their kids, there's no like even though they're from opposite ends, there shouldn't be no confrontation, no conflict, because like, hey man, I'm with my family.
Yeah.
And nowadays, I feel like some people have no respect. They'll even record that shit.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, that's out of pocket.
Oh, yeah.
Because se va fallando el respeto.
Oh, yeah.
And then, and one thing I just look down on it now is I feel like it's a poor person mentality. And by that is, I feel like instead of fighting one another, we should be building one another up. Or networking, connecting, learning. That's what to me is real gangster. Me and my homie started a business. Me and my homie started this brand. Me and my homie invested in this, and now we up. But me, like my paisano and this paisano got like like unless it's over some real shit. Like there's no reason you should be like throwing hands with other people.
No, I agree. I completely agree. And even just like social media, it's made people think like you could create a caricature of who you are. You know what I mean? Like people can go on social media and act like they're tough as shit, but in real life, they're really not about none of that. And I feel like for me, when I see people on social media that act hella hard and they always show their guns, and to me, I look at that like a weakness.
Yeah.
Like, because the people that have really lived it are really in it. I'm not trying to, I want people to look at me and think, oh, she's a mom, she's a wife, she is no threat at all whatsoever. That's what I prefer. I want people to see my husband and think the same thing. I don't ever want them to think that we know shit about shit. Why? Because that tells me that we elevated in life. We grew apart from all that bullshit, because really it's just an anchor that holds you down. 100%. That's all it is. You're not going to get nowhere with it. What, you're going to have a little reputation for your little early, when you were young in your 20s and all that. That reputation, what are you going to have to show for it? Yeah. You got a house? You got a solid family? You got solid people around you that you could actually trust and live the rest of your life with? Or are you going to be looking over your shoulder your whole life?
Spitting facts early. I think the one reason you're so popular and big, because 15,000 followers on Instagram, right?
Yeah.
That didn't happen overnight. Like, I'm pretty sure, because I couldn't go, like, I kept scrolling and scrolling. I couldn't get to the end of it. And I'm just like, all right, she's been on forever. Yeah. When'd you start?
So I actually started social media back in 2014. And I actually got a lot bigger back then.
Really?
Back then I was a lot bigger. But him and I were like, I broke up with him. We were separated for a little bit, and we got back together. And my thing has always been families first.
Okay.
I don't care about the social media shit. I don't care about the likes. I don't care about the follows. What matters to me is that where I have to live and wake up every single day, the person I created my family with, we're solid before everything else. So we reached a point in our relationship where we were like, we both got to get off social media, and we got to just dedicate time to each other and our family and elevating in life. So I took, I want to say it was like 2-3 years off of social media.
Yeah.
And
during what time? Like 2014, 2017?
So I went probably like from 2016 to 2018.
18. Was that healthy for you?
Oh, definitely.
Because I feel like I feel like it's an addiction that I have.
Yeah.
Putting myself out there, and I feel like a lot of people have, like, just the endless scrolling, the constant reopening apps, even though there's no notification.
And there's like a scientific study behind it. It's a dopamine hit. Every time you open that app, every time you see a notification, it's a dopamine hit. And it was initially back in 2014 when I started getting popping really fast. I was so consumed with social media, and then we took that break, and then I told him, it was like bittersweet for me because I was like, damn, like I was ahead of a lot of these social media influencers that you see. I was ahead of all of them. And I was the only one that was actually bringing authenticity. Everyone else was like, the same bullshit, influencer bullshit, fake lips, fake ass, fake life. And I was the only one that was actually talking about real shit. You know what I mean? Like my actual life. And I was telling my man, like, fuck, it's bittersweet for me because I could have surpassed everybody. I could have made this my career, made something off of it that I could eat, right? But what I gained from that break was the solidity of my family. And that there's no price I could put on that. So now I got back on it and I'm trying to get back into it. And I mean, it's harder now because I talk about politics. So it changes my algorithms and there's a whole other logistics. I'm obviously competing with people that are selling people an illusion. Yeah. The thing is, you and me, we're not selling people an illusion. We're selling people reality. Like, this is real life.
100%.
As to where other people want to get a dopamine hit from this fake ass family that they see online, or these fake ass influencers that just make their life seem like a fairy tale and feed them that little lie that they hold on to. And then there's people like us that are like, no, this is raw, this is real. And it's harder for us, but I feel like it's more rewarding 100%. As our following grows, because it's solid people that actually want to make their life like valuable and have substance in their life. So, I fuck with it.
I love that you said raw, and then I love that you said we keep like keeping it real, right? Because to me, 99% of things are black or white. Yeah, some things have gray area, but I take my feelings out of a lot of things. I don't take nothing personal. Yes, no, deal, no deal. Are you down? No. And I rather have 10 solid ass homies than 100 people that like me.
Yep.
Because there's quality over quantity in anything.
Oh, facts.
Anything.
Facts. You know what's crazy? People showed me a lot more love when I was engaged in hood culture and I was a degenerate, because the content that I used to make in 2014 was stupid. Like, literally stupid. I'm embarrassed when I think about the type of shit I used to make.
What's stupid to you? Take me back to.
No, oh my God. So I was just like, I was always really real about like my story, the things that I've gone through, the shit that I'm dealing with. But I would make like my stupid little content of like our sexual life, or like just one that I could think of that people always remind me of. is I guess I posted a video of him like eating my ass. You couldn't see it. But it was like it just suggesting shit like that. And so I'm like, oh my God, that was me being young and stupid, or like, oh, how I would beat a bitch's ass or pull up to someone's house. People knew if I was beefing with somebody, people knew that I was beefing with somebody. You know what I mean? Like,
you don't call the cops.
Yeah, it was just. So it was like stupid content like that, but people loved it
because it was real.
They loved the degenerate. No, I think they loved the degeneracy.
The hood.
Yeah, like the reality. You know how people like reality shows, and they love it because it's hella drama, it's hella toxic, and that's where they're at in their life.
Engaging.
I feel like people liked it because it was like entertainment for them. Like stupidity was entertainment. Now that I've matured and I'm like, oh no, I'm like, let me put people on real game, not bullshit. Oh hell no. I've had so many people like hate on me, so many people that just don't like my content anymore. And at first I was like, man, how is that even like possible? Like I'm actually giving you guys like so much better quality wisdom than before, right? But I realized it really just depends on where your viewers are at in their life. Yeah. And I think when I was a degenerate, a lot of people liked it and related to it because they were also at that low place in their life. Now that I'm elevated, I understand not a lot of people are reaching for where I'm at. You know what I mean? So of course it seems foreign to them.
It's lonely at the top.
It's lonely at the top. And it takes a lot of courage to go from being a certain person and challenging yourself to growth, being committed to that growth, even though you lose friends, you lose following, you lose family, but you have that higher purpose for yourself. And if you believe in it, it does get lonely, but it's like you said, I'd rather have 10 solid people than 100 people faking their love for me.
That's facts. It's a lot of courage and a lot of sacrifice. Even starting this podcast, I just could relate it to that because I get asked to hang out. I get asked to go out, like, just kick it with the homies basically, right? Yeah. And like set the interview, that takes time. The editing, that takes time. Tweaks, like like all this shit takes time, but I know it's gonna be rewarding because already the people I met, like I was even telling Marco, and like this is so cool. Like I'm meeting people that I never would have met before, and I feel like I'm growing as a person because I'm a lot more comfortable now than I was when I started, and I feel like it's only up from here, even though as we learn on the way. But you're so like, is it natural for you to be in front of the camera and talk your like your wisdom and stuff? Because like the stuff you be saying, it's definitely controversial, but it's authentic, it's real. And then the one thing I admire so much is you talk it because you've lived all this. Yeah, it's not like you like just think or give an opinion. Like no, like this is what I went through, and this is how I'm gonna tell you how it is. Yeah. So what gave you the courage to like come out and speak about everything you've been through in your life?
Yeah, well, truthfully, I feel like my whole life I had to deal with everything by myself. I'm the oldest of all my siblings. My real dad wasn't in my life. My stepdad didn't treat me like his own. My mom was dedicated to the family she created with my stepdad and their kids. And I felt like every adversity that I went through in my life, I had to get through it. No one was there to teach me or be an example. It was really trial and error in my own life. And I fucked up a lot, And for me, speaking about my testimony has been therapeutic. It's been like, I grew up and everyone thought I was the black sheep, that I wasn't going to be shit. And I went through a phase where that's what it was looking like. I was a drug addict. I was homeless. It looked like I wasn't going to be anything. And the turnaround that I've made and being able to share that experience with people, it's really just been healing for me. And I think to myself, like, I love to get in front of the camera and share my testimony because you know how many people probably felt like me, that they don't got nobody, example, no glimpse of hope. I went into my healing process thinking to myself, I don't even know if there's light at the end of the tunnel. I don't know a better life than this. All I know is being a fuck up. All I know is depression and darkness and hood culture. That's all I know. Yeah. And I went into healing blind, and to see that light at the end of the tunnel, I was like, there's no way I cannot talk about this. There's no way I can't be vulnerable and share my experience because someone out there is going to feel it. Even if it's just one person that is at a low place that I was at, they're going to feel what I say and they're going to see that, damn, don't give up that hope. You may be like, you feel like you're 6 feet under right now. Don't fucking give up that hope. Keep pushing.
I feel like the victim mentality, it's people that never grow in life, they just accept it for what it is, and like, this is my life, this is how it should be, and it just is what it is. But as I've gotten older and taken control of my life, there your growth is endless.
Oh yeah.
If you want to become stronger, you can, like, physically. If you want to make more money, you can, like, work harder, gain a new skill, take risks, invest, get another job. If you want to have a better social life, go out a little bit more. Like, whatever you put work in, you can become better at that. But if you just accept for your life for what it is and just do the same thing over and over again, how do you expect different results?
Exactly. And what do you have to lose? You know, to the people that stay stagnant in whatever funk they're in, what do you have to lose? You know where making the same choices has got you, where not being disciplined has got you, where giving into your depression has got you. You know where staying in your comfort and not taking yourself out of your comfort zone has got you. You know where it's got you. Mm-hmm. What do you have to lose to try the opposite of that and see where it could take you? You might fail. And I think a lot of people, they're scared to fail. I look at failure as like a growth process. Like, I don't give a fuck to fail. Yeah. I actually want to fail, because how am I going to learn to be great at what I want to do? Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's a mindset. And I really realize how much that mindset is like lacking in today's society. And I think it's because we coddle. Yeah. We have created, obviously this isn't victim shaming or victim blaming, right? There's validation in the shit that people have had to live through. But you can coddle it, or you can light a fire under your ass and make something of your life. You could use that pain for a purpose, or you could use that pain to destroy you. And the choice is yours.
I look at pain, I look at all types of feelings as energy. And it cannot be created or destroyed. It has to be transferred. This is like just my last episode of Mr. West. He told me that, like, why does somebody that's mad need a punching bag? Because they need to get that energy out. Why somebody that's heartbroken? Why do they want to go to the gym? They got to get that energy out. And some people, when life hits you hard, either you stay down or you come back stronger. Because the more failures you experience in life, and the more times you get up, the stronger you become as a man.
Every time.
If you lose, you know, this is just like me giving an example. I've been fucked over for $100, $1,000, $2,500, and every time it hurt. Yeah. But like, I'm all like, I can make that back. Yeah. Like I can make it. And so like now when I lose, like, I'm not gonna lie, if I lose $100, somebody comes up on me $100, like, damn, that sucks. But it's not the end of the world. Yeah. Because I've lost so much that, like, once you keep like training your mind for failures and for overcoming obstacles, you just become a stronger person overall. And I feel like it's important to fail, and back to what you said about coddling, do you think that it's because how society raised kids?
I think it might be. It's probably a mixture of a lot of things. If I had to say something off of the top of my head right now, I'd say I think as a society as a whole, we've lowered our standard for ourselves. And I think we've done that because we want to be so accepting of different people, different walks of life, and all kinds of different shit, right? It sounds nice and it's painted really nicely, right? But we're humans, we're primal. We have to have a competitive nature to us, especially men. There has to be like a competitive spirit that makes you challenged enough to be the best version of yourself. As a society, we've lowered that standard, right? But I also think in our generation, I really saw the shift. And I think it's because our parents came from such strong struggles that their goal was financial stability, right? So where we kind of lacked was the emotional stability. And we have a next generation that didn't grow up on emotional stability. So they're so set on emotional stability that they're not creating balance between being able to be emotionally intelligent enough to raise a child and be like, hey, I'm not trying to belittle you. I'm actually trying to push you to be the best version that you can be. I think our parents try to do it, but they did it a little bit in a way that was slightly toxic. And I think a lot of the generations internalized that. And so now they think, no, now you have to, like, the world owes me something. You got to coddle me because I had it so hard emotionally. As to where I'm like, nah, we just needed to be a little bit more emotional. Like, our parents being on our ass was a good thing. They may not have done it the right way, but it was a good thing overall because they were pushing us to reach a higher self that we didn't know we were capable of doing yet. The way they did it might not have been perfect, but the intention was good.
That's what I was gonna say. The intention was there. Good intentions. Yeah. Because I got raised getting I guess you call it here spanked, whipped, whatever. my dad, traditional OG Mexican, would hit me with whatever. And as a child, you're kind of a little bit confused, and some people might develop this trauma and stuff. But I believe the father has the role to keep their sons out of jail and their daughters off like stripper poles. And I think, and he would always tell me, I hit you because I love you. Like, that's something he'd always tell me, te pego porque te quiero. And as a 10-year-old kid, 12-year-old kid, 8-year-old kid, you're like, what the heck? Like, damn, like, you must.
How could you love me?
Yeah, exactly. Like, it doesn't make sense, right? But now, but he would never hit me just to hit me. He'd hit me because I'm setting something on fire. I might have stole something. I was always on the wrong. It was never because, just come over here. No. It was, I was doing shit I wasn't supposed to, or I wasn't following orders. Yep. And it's a form of discipline that I feel like in today's society, like, you'd get shamed for it or whatever. And now I think I think like, there wasn't like an awkward era where I'm like, man, like some resentment. Yeah. But like, look, like seeing other men, like you said now, I'm like, man, you're a pussy, bro. Or like, damn, dog.
Yeah,
like
you ain't got no heart.
You don't, like, what the heck, bro? Like,
and it's crazy too, because if you talk to like new era psychologists and therapists, a lot of them come up with like these linguistics of like, oh, that's internalized, whatever, and oh, you guys just normalize this. It was manipulation and narcissistic for a parent to say, oh, I'm whipping you because I love you, and things like that. But I don't think this is where spirituality and like religion come into play, right? Okay. And a lot of like new age people, they don't understand the spare the rod, spoil the child. They are fully in this gentle parenting, and we're gonna da-da-da, but that's not realistic if you really think about it to what life is. Life ain't fucking gentle. Yeah, nothing about life is fucking gentle. Nothing. You're raising kids gentle parenting, and I believe in balance. I try to gentle parent my kids, but if my kids do anything that break any kind of principle, like stealing, lying, cheating, shit that is like fundamental, you're gonna get an ass whooping, because I'm not raising no kid like that. You know what I mean? There's certain things that I'm like, this is exceptional, you need to get a spanking for that. And in today's society, we're raising this generation to gentle parenting and coddling and speaking to you kindly, and all. Life ain't gonna be like that. You're gonna go out in the real world, and you're not gonna know what the fuck to do. And that's realistic. People, and the problem that I see is that people live in this fucking utopia of what they think life should be. They think, oh, life should be kumbaya, everyone should get along, there should be no problems, everyone should like each other. And it's like, no, especially here in the United States. We are the fucking melting pot of like all kinds of people. To even have this expectation that we're all gonna think the same way, act the same way, accept each other the same way, it's like defeats the purpose of what the fucking United States of America is. We came here to accept everybody for their diversities, and people do shit differently. Yep. You know what I mean? This gentle parenting shit ain't for everybody.
It's I've always said, I've heard this one reference online that said, take the meat and throw out the bones. Because even though you might not agree with everybody's values and principles, whether it's a mentor, a parent, somebody you look up to, or just somebody you see online, I feel like you can learn something from everybody. And I'm not also advocating to hit your kids or like what, like
PSA to all the softies like, on the
I already know this is gonna get comments, this is gonna get views, shares.
Trolls on TikTok that are gonna be like, oh, you're advocating for abusive children. Boy,
we're just talking out of personal experience and how we see it now. And how we analyze it.
Yeah, and my kids don't lie, steal, and cheat all the time, okay? So I'm not always
Nah, I knew this coming in. But we're keeping it real here. We're keeping it real. And anybody that's going to listen to this, I hope you're not soft. But you became a mother at a young age, right?
Yeah, so I got pregnant with my daughter at 17, had her at 18.
My mom kind of same scenario, 18, 19. And my mom's a living proof. Is that ideal? That's to be debated. Yeah. But I feel like I love my mom, and she's proud of me, and I'm proud of her. And I don't think there's no right or wrong age to have your children. Yeah. And this comes from, I don't have any, but some people even like to put a timeline, especially in like this Mexican culture. I guess sometimes
que no tienes hijos.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and you know what? Everyone's life is different. Yeah. You know what I mean? I could fully say the trajectory of where my life was heading, my daughter saved me. And I've said this on multiple like podcasts and I've talked about it. My daughter was my savior. The first year of my daughter's life as a mother, I could fully take responsibility that I was a fuck up. I was addicted to meth at that time. I was even homeless at one point with my daughter. Obviously, I wasn't an ideal mother, right? But I got my shit together a lot faster because I hit rock bottom a lot faster. And a lot of it had to do with her. Anytime there was any kind of hard situation in my life, it was the fact that I have this other human being depending on me that I got to get myself out of it. No matter how deep it was, no matter what the circumstances was, I have to get myself out of it. And I think that was my blessing. You know, she taught me my strength. My second daughter taught me to be loving and nurturing and to love myself, you know, and to just be okay with where my life's at. I feel like my son taught me to be vulnerable. My third son taught me to be vulnerable. And I feel like my last son, I don't know, that kid's crazy. He's teaching me all kinds of shit. He's teaching me patience.
What are their names?
So Amora, she is 9 years old. And then I have Marivella, who is 6. I have Mauricio, who is going to be 5. And then I have Abel, and he is going to be 2.
Shout out to them.
Yes. Shout out those kids.
I want to go back to how you mentioned your first daughter saved you. And you mentioned the homelessness, the drug addiction, the sexual abuse, just about every problem like somebody could experience in life. And you said, I had to move forward, not only for myself, but for this person that depended on me. Why, like, how did you go, like, how did you move forward, like, and not take the victim mentality approach? Because I feel if anybody would experience one of those issues, they would have hated the world or had this resentment towards all the people that did this stuff
definitely.
to them. And you took it all in and you found power in that.
Yeah.
So tell me, like, what was it? Just after your daughter, you're like, you know what, I got to change my life? Or what? Who helped you, or what helped you?
Well, it wasn't just after her. I got to a point in my life where I was tired of my own shit. You know what I mean? I was tired of my mentality. I was tired of the shit that I was getting into. Like, I caught my first case at 16. I caught a gun charge at 21. You know, I was like fighting hella bad and just being out in the streets doing shit that is so unproductive to where I wanted my life to go. And so having her that is depending on me, but also seeing with myself, like, wow, is this really my life? Like, I'm always just going to be a fuckface. That's really what it felt like. Like, I'm always going to be masculine and take this masculine approach and talk like an idiot. And like, even the way that I talk now, if you would have heard me 10 years ago, you'd be like, oh my gosh, you're a whole new person now. You know, you don't even sound the same. But
the glow up is real.
Yes. And I always thought to myself, like, I can't expect my daughter to be a strong woman if I'm not being a strong woman. I can't expect her to be a classy woman if I'm not being a classy woman. I can't expect her to love herself if I don't love myself. Everything that I would want for my daughter, if I'm not embodying that, then how the hell can I show her how to be that? Because then I'm going to be a hypocrite. I'm telling her to be X, Y, and Z because these are the keys to success, but I can't even be disciplined enough to do that in my own life. Then what kind of mother does that make me? What does that show my character as, you know?
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, nah. Like, I'm very much we talked about competitiveness. I'm very competitive with myself. Like, I analyze myself and I have high standards for myself in everything. My mothering, being a wife, being the kind of person that I am. I set high standards for myself because that's just what works best for me in my life. I got one life to live, one flesh body to live in. I'm gonna waste this shit being an idiot? No.
Nah, and also one life, and also think about your bloodline. Like, I thank my parents so much, and I feel like there's something that not a lot of people give credit as immigrant children don't give their parents enough credit. If your parents came from Mexico or any other third world country, and you're here and they're here now, and maybe they couldn't give you the best start, but just simply being in America, knowing the both languages, and being in I think is the best country in the world, like that to me is like, I can't let them down. Because if I was born in Mexico or lived in Mexico, I would not have all these opportunities or all these doors that I could go through.
Yeah.
And so the bloodline and your life, like you got to make it all count.
Yeah. And you know what? It's crazy that you mentioned that too, because I had a moment in my healing journey that I thought about that. My mom was also an immigrant here, and she had all odds against her. She had me at 16 years old. You know, she was the eldest of 4. Her mom was a drug addict, like fully drug addict. My mom was taking care of her siblings. And the fact that my mom could overcome that, my mom now has her citizenship. She is a labor and delivery nurse. I've seen my mom go to school for the last like 15 years of her life. Shout out my mama, you know.
Shout out to mom.
If she could do it.
I saw that podcast.
Yes. Like if she could do it, and I'm over here and I was born here and I didn't nearly have a hard life the way my mom had it. You know what I mean? Like I went through my shit, but compared to my mom and the things that she's had to go through, I feel like my stuff don't even compare, you know? How can I let her down? How can I let our lineage down? Exactly. What kind of stupid ass would I be to let that down? It is, no.
But not a lot of people think like that.
Yeah, that's very true.
I want to go back real quick to, I really like how you mentioned about when you're raising your daughter. It's basically practicing what you preach. Following up with that was like being a feminine woman, which I feel like this is something I kind of like. But I think is the engaging part in your content is you go really hard on the women.
I do.
But I feel like that's needed. And I feel like only women can be hard on women.
Yes.
Because if a guy starts talking shit, they'll be like, oh, small dick energy.
Or you're a misogynist or whatever.
Yeah, toxic masculinity.
Yes. Oh,
but when it's a girl telling a girl, spitting her game, telling her how it is, like what else does she got to say, you know?
Yeah.
And vice versa. I feel like this is why, like a very popular one that I think a lot of people are aware of is Andrew Tate.
Yeah.
And, some guys like him, some guys don't like him. But I feel like those type of figureheads are needed because if a girl was telling us, oh, you should be a man, you should like go to work out, like I feel like guys want to take it seriously. But when you see it has to be somebody to a caliber where like, damn, I want to get to that level.
Yeah. Well, it's a competitive nature that you guys have.
100%.
You guys are naturally, and this is like primal beginning of human life.
Biologically,
you guys are biologically created to be competitive, to be the best of the best, to be the protectors, the leaders. It's survival of the fittest.
100%.
And people in today's day and age, they don't want to accept that. They want to, we're fucking all floating on a rainbow in the clouds and everything's freaking kumbaya. That's not how it is. And this is actually a great quality of men. It's great that you guys can assert your aggressiveness. It's great that you guys can be masculine and assert that. It's great that you guys can protect and provide and lead. That's how it should be. The only thing that I tell girls is like, listen, you got to be able to have the discernment to see if a man is leading in his ego or if he's leading in righteousness. That's the only thing that I'd like be telling girls. You need to be discerning of that, because if my man was leading in his ego, then I know, because I know how ego works, that's going to lead us to nothing but destruction. But if he's leading in righteousness, he's giving his life to the Lord. And so everything he does is with God first. His masculinity is rooted in what's best for our family, what's best for himself as a man, what's best for me as a woman. Like, it's good to go. And a woman should have no problem submitting to a man like that. And even if he's not fully there, but is almost there, you know, I don't know if you believe in the Bible, and I don't read a lot of scripture, but I always think about how Adam and Eve, right? Mm-hmm. It says that God created Adam to cultivate the land. Yeah. And then he made Eve from his rib as a helper to him, because he saw that he couldn't do it on his own. Same thing. Men are here to provide, protect, and lead. Women, in our emotional nature, we provide that emotional intelligence, that guidance. Yeah. And it's like a harmonious balance, femininity and masculinity. When it's off.
And to sum up that scripture, because I am familiar with that, in real short terms, God gave him work first, then the woman. Yeah. But he gave him a task first. He didn't give him the woman right at the beginning. He's like, nah, you got to work. Let me see if you can do it on your own first. Exactly. But I need to ask you real quick. So you said women have to be with a man that works in righteousness and not ego. Mm-hmm. How can they tell the difference? Or how do women, is it energy? Is it through actions? Is it through what they say? Like, how would you say, how do women see the difference? Because I see a lot of women complaining. Men ain't shit. all men want sex, and there's some truth to that.
Yeah. No, I don't believe. No, I feel like the women that say that all men want is sex, it's because that's all you're projecting that you have to offer.
Women that say all men want is sex, you say you what? Disagree with that?
I disagree with that. I think that those women, and this is from my own experience, because I used to have that mentality.
And we're talking from experiences here. We're not shaming nobody.
I realized the hard way that you know what? Not even the hard. Well, yeah, kind of the hard way, because it was my whole healing journey. But you are what you project. Life will give back to you what you're putting into it. And a lot of these women that are saying, "Oh, all men want is sex," are you still like, have you healed from your daddy issues? Have you healed from your mother wound? Are you the epitome of a woman that you should be? Do you take emotional intelligence in every aspect of your life? Have you embraced your femininity? Are you holding yourself to a higher standard as a woman? And if you're not, and all you're attracting is men that just want to fuck, that's because all they see in you is someone who is fuckable, not someone who is wifeable. Now, when you embrace the essence of your femininity, when you step into the gift of being able to be emotionally intelligent, when you hold yourself to a higher standard as a woman, guess what? You weed out all the little weasels that just want to hit it and quit it, and you're surrounded by men who see the woman in you.
And this is me, like when I used to like talk to a lot of women and like put them on game. Is I feel like women mistaken attention for like sexual attention for like boyfriend attention. You take an average 4 off the streets, she's gonna have 10 DMs. But maybe 9 of those DMs just want to hit it and quit it. Yeah. There's probably one good guy. But I noticed, and this is from like podcast learning and life, women don't want the average dude. So I always tell my boys, we have to become more than average. Because if you're an average dude in today's day and age, like life is competition. Back to what we were saying. That house you want, that girl you want, that car you want, somebody else wants all of that. And if you're not on the top of your game and working towards it every single day, somebody's working while you're sleeping or taking a day off or out there partying, somebody's going to work harder than you and get that. So I tell people that you have to become the best version of yourself. Yeah. If you want to have a fulfilling life and have a life full of like righteousness and love and glory, you have to work on becoming a better person. And have a path, because if you're just a feather in the wind, your life's not gonna go nowhere. If you let life take you wherever, you have to have some type of direction. Yeah. Girls are not attracted to men that give them all the time and attention in the world. They say they do. They say, "Oh, let's hang out. Let's just watch a movie." But if you're just hanging out all the time, if you're just available all the time, they're gonna get bored real quick. Oh, yeah. Women love mystery. And they love and they love a sense of the unknown. Yes. If you're with your girl 24/7, the mystery is dead. The unknown is gone. This is why you girls love dramas. This is why you girls love those murder mystery 24 hours type of stuff, because you guys like the unknown. So and if there's some unknown, like, hey, I'll be back, I'm gonna go make this money, I'll be back, I'm gonna get this job done. On paper they might say no, I don't, but yes you do. Yeah, because it's a showcase of you guys' masculinity. Yeah, you know what I mean? There's a lot of women that are like, I mean, I hate to say it, soy boys and beta males that are like, oh, I want a guy that's like super emotionally connected to me. And listen, my man, he's so rough around the edges. He doesn't always fulfill me emotionally, right? And that's fine. I'll accept that. But he is so sexy to me when he does masculine shit. When I see him working on the yard, when I see him fixing the house, when I see him just like talking to a guy in a certain way and his like masculine tone comes out, and I just see him in real life, or like he views someone in the store and he's like, they're moving a little funny, get on this side of me. Like that shit is sexy. Women want that. And it's a primal thing. Yeah. It's a procreation thing. You know, we want to be, whether women want to admit it or not, we want to be soft. We want to be around a man that we don't gotta embrace our masculinity. Right? Because that man will go and embrace his masculinity. And equally so, I feel like men also don't want to be masculine all the fucking time. You know, there's times where they want to come home and they want peace and they want love and they want somebody that they could just be like their little self with, you know? And so as a woman, like a standard for me has been, I want my husband to come home and he could be the hardest motherfucker to the world. And I want him to be. Everyone should know my man is a threat. But when he comes home to our house where we've created our family, know that you have a woman that loves you and you could be the little Marco that you used to be when you were little, you know? This is your safe space.
and just recharge him for life, you know, because you guys have it, I think, a lot harder in many different ways than us women do. I mean, statistically speaking.
Facts. And I'm going to say that's facts because as a man, I feel like it's constant war. It's constant war with your job. It's constant war with your other males. It's constant war in the streets for women, money, materialistic, because we're trying to collect that. We're not, most guys, not to the same caliber as everybody else, but we're trying to get as many resources as we can. We're trying to gather them, and the last thing we want to come home to is a girl that's gonna fight us, a girl that's gonna nag at us, a woman that's gonna like get all riled up because we weren't home at a certain time. Like the opposites attract, and that's a real thing. The last thing a masculine man wants is a masculine woman. Like I don't want to date myself.
And you know what, it's a balancing act, because I grew up my dad put me up on game about a lot of things. I grew up having to embrace my masculinity to just survive my life. Like that's really what it was. I was surviving, so I had to take that masculine approach. But there's been times even in my relationship where I find myself having to be masculine because certain things aren't getting done, or he's not, you know, he's maybe slacking off a little bit. And I've had to tell my man, like, hey, I don't want to be this. I don't want to be masculine. I don't want to freaking have to remind you to do this or do that. Like, handle your shit so that I could just be feminine and like relax, you know? And that's also a working process, especially when you've been with somebody for so long, because everybody has their moments where they fuck up or they fail or they're slacking, you know? And it's open lines of communication constantly, always articulating what it is that you would like, and always allowing yourself to be open to get criticized as well. My man can tell me if I'm slacking in some area, or, hey, I don't appreciate that you talk to me in this kind of manner, or, you know, can you do this for me today? And that's like welcomed, because that's healthy. There's nothing unhealthy about that.
In your opinion, who do you think love more? Who do you think loves more, men or women?
Men. 1,000% men.
I love that. I honestly thought you were gonna say the opposite.
No, men. And I'll tell you this. I feel like initially women love hard. I do feel like we love hard, and we display our heart right away. But I feel like men tend to fuck up. You guys tend to put us through the ringer sometimes, especially when you get together young, you know, and you guys are learning and trying to grow and get to know each other. And ultimately, though, I feel like in successful marriages and relationships that you see, it usually tends to be the man that loves the woman more. Yes. More. And I think that's because you guys have gone through your phase of procreation. You know how you mentioned earlier, like, oh, like we like to sleep with a lot of women and this and that and whoop whoop, right? Women, well, not today's day and age women, because women are hooking up like a motherfucker. But you take an average 21-year-old woman today and an average 21 man, that 21 girl is running circles on a dude nowadays. Yes. So like the old school of us, you know what I mean? We didn't have like that many options like that, as to where men, you know, you guys were out there experiencing, trying different kinds of women and different kinds of, you know, whatever. And so you kind of realize, okay, that gets tired fast. I want a solid female by my side that I could settle down with. And women, we do tend to take more shit, but it's going to sound really fucked up now that I think about it, but men tend to love a solid woman. And I know people are going to find conflict with that, because they're going to be like, you shouldn't have to go through shit for a man to love you and da-da-da. And I used to think about it that way too, but you know what, if God called me to be in my man's life and he didn't know love and he didn't know healthy relationships, and I'm here and I love him and I can't help what my heart loves, guess what, then that's a task that God gave me to do. I'm here to show him that what unconditional love is, and what being in a healthy relationship is, and what emotional stability I can bring to our relationship. And I think that's a blessing, not something that should be frowned upon, even if it means I had to take a little more shit.
I say men love more than women, because I feel like if a man, there's like me and my people I'm around, we truly love our families and our women, and I can speak for my friends, even for their kids, we will die for them. Yeah. Like, and I feel like that's the ultimate sacrifice. I know if something were to go down, that I'll go to jail, I'll kill, whatever, because nobody's gonna hurt my family or somebody I loved. And that's why I believe men love more than women. But that's to be debated. And obviously, that's one of the few things where, okay, you could give me a gray area, because I get hit with the rebuttal of, we hold your child for 9 months, the pregnancy, periods, birth control, like all these other things. But that's the only one where, okay, I'll give you the gray area.
Yeah, we do that. Yeah, and it is because we love our partner. But I feel like women are very conditional.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably an ugly truth that a lot of women don't want to hear, is that we're very much like, we have this expectation of men that if you don't meet that expectation, women are willing to walk away really fast. And I've done this in my own life, in my own relationship, where if he was slacking off for a little too long, guess what? Sorry, I'm not putting up with that shit no more. As to where men, they get to that point of loving a woman unconditionally, and I feel like it would take a lot to break a man, and for a man to say, I'm going to walk away. Once he's invested in a woman that he's deemed wifeable, there's nothing that he won't do to fight for that love and that union that he created for that woman. As to where women, the moment a man fucks up, they're willing to walk away.
It's statistically shown that women initiate most of the divorces,
Yep.
most of the breakups, and that's true. And it's saying all this is fact. I feel like more people are single now than ever, but I think it's because social media. Because it used to be, a girl gets ready, she goes out to the ball, a bar, a family gathering, and it was whoever was in your town, maybe a friend, a family friend. But now, at the touch of a button, somebody in whole nother state, whole nother city, whole nother school can tap in, and like now a girl has like 20, 30 options. The average woman has 20, 30 options.
Yeah. It's accessibility.
It's accessibility.
And I think where a lot of women fail to realize, I actually learned this the hard way, is you think that the grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah.
It's green where you water it.
That's a new one. You're putting me on game.
There you go.
And that's a good one. Yeah. And I feel like having that much attention, it inflates the ego.
Oh, definitely.
Because, and this is something I learned, and we were talking about podcast that influences us, Fresh and Fit. Women are given their money up front, and men have to create their value. By that I mean is like a woman's value is based off her beauty. So as women get older, their value tends to go a little bit down. I'm not saying they're valueless. I'm just saying men like a younger woman that hasn't had a lot of experience. The last thing a man wants is a really old woman that's been around with a lot of men and has a tons of experience. But as a man, if you don't, at 21, you don't have a lot to offer. So that way you have to like plant the seed and water the crops, and you have to grow to be that great man. But it takes years of work. And I think men are more hard on themselves because they see social media and they see this 21-year-old that's a millionaire, this 25-year-old millionaire, all these young guys, but that's not realistic.
No, that's like the 1% of people. And women feel entitled to a 1%. There's like 75% of women that feel entitled to 1%. And I'm like, homegirl, are you even a 1% woman? Because stop. Stay in your percentage, Rachel.
Yeah, because if a woman really like a lot of women complain that there's no good men left. There's a lot of good men, and you just don't want them.
Yep.
You just don't want the average dude that makes $50K a year.
Yeah.
You want the trips, you want the lifestyle, you want the experience. And that's a lot of money. That's a lot of sacrifice. And a lot of guys just ain't up there yet.
And you know what? That's a lot of, I feel like as a woman, that's a really shallow standard to have. Like just a financial standard.
Elaborate.
You know, like me with my man, right? Mm-hmm. If we were broke living in a box, I would still love him the same way. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If he was a millionaire on a yacht, I'ma still love him the same way. Women are conditional. Mm-hmm. You got to make a certain amount of money so that I can love you in this way. I want a 1%, certain height. You got to look a certain way, act a certain way.
Charismatic.
It's a lot of entitlement.
All these checklists.
Yeah. And that's why I'm saying that men got a lot of pressure to like cross off all these check marks, and that does take a toll on a man. And when you think like, damn, all these women out here, like you guys, this pool of like dateable women that could potentially maybe be wifeable, like, it's like really slim out there right now, especially given the you stated that men take into account like the innocence of a woman, her experience of a woman. A lot of women interpret that as like, oh, you're being controlling. Oh, you're being misogynistic and machismo, right? It's really like, no, men are just competitive. They want to be the first ones to show you shit. And you should like that your man don't want to be like every other man. He wants to put you up on shit that no one else has. If you've been everywhere with everyone and done everything with everybody, what makes him stand apart? You know what I'm saying? And then these expectations get higher and higher and higher, and it's unattainable, realistically.
Hey, take notes, ladies. That's one thing I tell homegirls. That's like the best piece of advice I could give them. If you've been to this restaurant, if you've been to this event, if you've been out to this city, act like you've never been there. Yeah. You don't want to be like, oh, I remember. Yeah, I was here. Like, because even though it could have been your mom, it could have been your best friend, it could have been your sister. But a guy, as soon as he hears she's been to this restaurant, she's been to that club, she's been to that place, they're the hoe, slut, just because we just think like, oh, somebody
you're
brought you
another dude.
Yeah,
that's hella funny. When I first got with my man, one of the very first questions he asked me, because I used to date somebody that he knew, he was like, did he bring you over here? Like, did he take you to this restaurant? Did he? And I was like, damn, why are you asking that? Like, what kind of question is that?
Territorial.
Now I understand
Territorial.
Yeah.
So, ladies, take notes. I don't know nothing. I'm just here for the ride. Show me the ways, and men love that because they like to lead. Yeah. They like to lead. And here's one.
And remember that lie, so it never comes up in the future.
and here's for the men. Don't be asking your girl where she wants to go. Like, she doesn't even know what she wants to eat.
Yeah.
Just look at what's popping in the city. What events are coming down? Hey, baby, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. Don't even ask her. Let's go. Because if she's your girl, who the hell you got plans with? And I don't know about, like, no, let's go. Yeah. Because if a girl really likes you, she's going to break rules. She's going to sneak out. She's going to lie. She's going to cancel. When a girl really likes you, and this is all from a single man, she will find a way to get to you.
Yeah.
And because
that's very true.
And a guy, don't be needy. Don't be be doing too much either. Because make sure she digs you. Because she's not alone. She didn't fall asleep. She wasn't too busy. Trust me, fellas, know the game.
No, that is very true. Because I used to sneak out with this fool. Like, he would sneak out 1 o'clock, back 4 o'clock in the morning. My mom took my phone, told me I couldn't be with him. I ran away with him. Freaking asked friends for phones to talk to him. There is nothing we will not do if there's a guy that we're interested in. And it's hella funny you mentioned mysteriousness. That was like the number one thing that I was attracted to with him. I couldn't read him. And I was like, oh yeah, that's I couldn't read him. And I liked that. It was a mystery. It was the unknown. So
you heard it
agree
here.
With that.
You heard it here first. Stay mysterious, fellas.
There you go.
And this is just like to give value to the audience. I kind of want to hook up the homies and then hook up homegirls. So I got a question. Like, what are because women know women best. Mm-hmm. So a homie's talking to a girl. Can you tell me like 3 red flags that they should look out for? That like, hey man, if you see this, run.
She belongs to the streets.
Basically, she's a
mission failed.
Don't even try, man.
Red flags that women have, there's so freaking many. Damn, this is gonna sound so fucked up, but it's the truth. If she has major daddy issues that she hasn't healed from. I'm sorry. For all the daddy issue girls, like, that's a thing, like, for real. If she's still hating men because of what her dad did to her, she is not mentally and emotionally at a space to be the kind of woman that you would need as a man.
I'll add on that, onto that point. If she ever mentions her exes, in my opinion,
what context?
He's a piece of shit. He's this, that.
What if he was a piece of shit?
It was. You're not gonna change it. Why are you still talking about it?
Yeah. Okay.
Like just.
I have another one. If she thinks it's a problem, by like, if a man were to say, I don't want you going out to the bar or a club without me, and if she thinks that's a problem, that's a fucking red flag. Because I feel like that's basic level respect. If your man don't want you at no bar or no club where nothing but fucking sex and drunkenness happens, you're toxic.
Yeah, I fully agree with that. And I'm gonna tell you now. This is where I'm gonna get canceled. But I feel like if your woman truly loves you, and you tell her don't go out to these places without you, and she disobeys, like, she belongs to the streets, and that's because there has to be some type of authority that you have in this relationship. Just like you said. I'm not saying don't let her go out at all. She wants to get breakfast in the morning. She wants to go to her friend's house. They want to go to the movies like that. But you want to go to a club, a bar, girls trips to a whole nother state. I'm not gonna allow that, and that's because one, obviously shit can go wrong in any situation. Like we can, not to be this dramatic, but schools, like the one place where I think is like should be like off, like, and then the craziest things happen at schools. So yeah, you could go to a park, yeah, you go to the movies, stuff could happen there, but where you always hear stuff happening is bars, alcohol, drugs,
Lust,
lots of it. And for guys to let their girls go out like that, and girls say, "Oh, it's just us having fun," I'm like, "No, that's disrespectful."
no, I view it as disrespectful as well. And I think I'm hella weak right now because I'm like, man, you're saying all these trigger words that are gonna fucking infuriate the feminists. You said disobey and allow and disobedient.
Hey, if you have a problem with that, she's not for me.
No.
Trust me, I don't even talk to you.
You know what it boils down to? It is respect. As women, you choose a man, right? You choose a man that you could spend the rest of your life with.
100%.
He chooses a wife,
Yes.
right? You, in choosing a man, you have to trust in his leadership. You have to trust in where he is going to lead not only you in a relationship, but your family. And I think that people take that as something so negatively, like they should be leading their own lives. And I think women have a problem with submission because they view it as it's something that's negative. No. You should be able to submit to your man because you should be able to trust enough in his leadership. And a lot of the times when you men say like, oh, I don't want you going to a bar, I don't want you going to a club, it's because you're a fucking man. You know what happens there. Yeah. You know that men there just want to fuck, or there's weirdos that want to like put shit in your drinks, or there's drama, or it's just a whole ass environment that you can't be there to protect your female if it came down to it.
100%.
You would have to live with that guilt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? She gets assaulted and you can't do nothing about the man that did that to her. You would live with that. And women don't understand that. They think it's control. No, your man's being a protector, as he should. And as his woman, you should respect it. You should honor the fact that your man can see the dangers that you can't. Simple as that.
And if I tell my girl, like, don't wear that, that's very revealing. Like, I have a problem because I feel like conservative is my ideal taste. Because,
like modesty?
Modesty.
There you go.
Because if you show everything to everyone, how's that special to me?
Yeah.
But if only I see it, that's back to, like, if I'm the only one that could experience that, that's what makes it really special.
Yeah, and see, women nowadays have a problem with that because they equate that to ownership. They think, oh, it's my body, I should do however I please. But what they don't realize is not everyone should have access to you. Visibly, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. You should not be that accessible to everybody. Not because you can't. You could do whatever the fuck you want. Yeah. But because that's a standard that you set for yourself as a woman. You should want to be that sacredness that only your husband has seen, been in, felt, you know what I mean? You're going to carry his fucking bloodline.
Yep.
Your children. Your body is capable of bringing life into this world. I genuinely don't understand how, as a society, we've minimized the sacredness of a woman's body. And we're telling women that it's liberating to go and be promiscuous, dress crazy, and all of this, and that somehow that's good for you. No, it's not.
It just, and at the end of the day, man, women, do whatever you want. But if I tell you not to go down this dark street dressed like that, and you disobey and you do it anyway, something happens to you, I don't feel responsible because it was in your best interest to listen to me. But also, guys, if you date girls like that, it's not in your best interest. Yeah. You got to be somebody that's understandable with your morals and principles, and somebody you understand hers too.
Yeah, and if women are going to take that approach, if you're going to take that approach, don't expect any other outcome than dealing with men that don't see your value. You're not even valuing yourself.
Facts. What's the third one?
I would say, okay, now that I've thought about this, if she's unable to articulate her emotions in a respectful and intelligent manner. If she has no type of emotional regulation, that is a red flag. If she cannot speak to you kindly when she's upset, that's a red flag. If she cannot be dealing with something and express it to you in a way that's not confrontational, that's a red flag. We are biologically created to be emotional and creatures, right? We as women have a responsibility to harvest that emotion and bring it and turn it into wisdom. That is what we give to our men. So if your woman isn't being emotionally intelligent and doesn't know how to emotionally regulate with herself. If you're dating a girl and she's like hot and cold, she doesn't know how to handle situations in her own life, she's always in drama, always like has no type of self-reflection, no type of emotional intelligence, that is probably one of the biggest, I think, red flags that you should look out for, because she's not going to give you what you need as a man. There's not going to be no balancer. Somebody's got to have the emotional intelligence.
To add on that, and this is just like a bonus one right here. This is my number 4. This is just bonus. Is if she takes no accountability. If she messes up, and like I was drunk, it was that time of it was my period. It was my friend. Like if it was everything but her, run, guys, because there's a lot of power when a woman says, you know what, I fucked up, I shouldn't have done that, or like, you know what, I chose to, like, yeah, it was me. Because if she blames everybody and everyone, that there's never going to be growth. Because the only time people ever grow is when they take accountability.
Yep. And you can expect a sour ass breakup or a sour ass divorce where you were the worst man ever that she's ever met, and it's gonna make everyone hate you. Shit.
Ladies, I got you. What are 3 red flags in men, do you think, that like women should look out for? I know you said a man should be righteous and not ego. So should we like what? Drop a like? Is a ego a red flag, or what would be a red flag to you?
I think ego can be used for a good thing. It just depends on how the man uses it. Me, I'm a spiritual person, so I would say a red flag for a woman like me would be a man who has no sense of spiritual foundation. If he doesn't believe in God, he doesn't believe in any kind of moral code that keeps him in line with himself in a righteous manner, that to me would be a red flag, because it's like, what guides you? Like yourself? Like you think you're God? You think you know all the answers? I feel like that to me would make me foresee problems in the future with raising children, because we probably wouldn't be on the same page in terms of the principles and the values that we want to instill in our children. To me, it's kind of like, well, if you don't have any kind of moral values, what is your standard then of how you hold yourself accountable? Like it's whatever you create in your own life. Like, are you going to lust and be like, oh, well, you know, I have nothing that holds me accountable telling me I shouldn't lust because I'm human and I can look at women and want to fuck on women. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's just like no laws to abide by.
A man should have morals and principles.
Definitely.
100%.
Definitely.
100%.
I would say another red flag for sure, because I've seen men do this a lot, which is hella weird to me.
What?
When they bring up, like, if they're with a certain girl and then they bring up, like, oh, this girl used to have the best pussy, or, oh, I prefer these kinds of women, but you're, like, nothing like the women that he's with. Like, what the hell is the point of you telling
That's an L. That's weird. That's hella weird.
And I've seen that so much. Weird. Like, I don't understand why men feel the need. Well, some men that I've seen do this. Like, I think it's almost like an ego thing. Like, you know, you want to make yourself seem like you've had hella bitches, or like, you know, oh, I'm making an exception and talking to you because I usually go for chicks like this. If a guy brings up any other bitch, sorry, the hood me came out. Yeah. If he brings up any other girl,
you're good.
Trying to like make you feel some kind of way, or like, oh, it's a reward that you're with him because he normally wouldn't. Okay, nah. No.
There's no need to front, because I feel like women are really good at reading the room. They're really good on like, they feel the energy, because I believe in that too. I'm spiritual, and I believe I don't want to say I go as depth as the Aquarius and Scorpio. I don't go with that, but I do believe in God.
Yeah.
If anything, hey, I'm gonna hook homies up. Hey man, you want a girl to like you? Say, oh yeah, baby, yeah, oh, hey, Capricorn, yeah, oh yeah, oh what? We link up, we meet up, yeah. Let's definitely, we're perfect for each other.
Stop the cap.
I got my, hey man, City Boys, we up.
No. Nah, the girls are winning y'all.
Facts. We need every leverage we can. We straight up need every leverage we can. No. Okay, what's one last red flag for men that you think that ladies should look out for?
If he doesn't respect his mom.
That's a good one. I've heard that so many times. That's definitely in your guys' playbook.
Definitely.
I know you guys look at that.
Because
his mom and just other people in general.
Yeah. Very much like how he treats other people.
100%.
But it tells a lot, a man who has no regard for the woman that gave him life. Wow. You know what I'm saying?
That's powerful. Yes.
So it's like, okay, now that really lets me know what you think of women as a whole. Because if you can't even respect the woman that brought you into this world, I can't expect you to respect me or anybody else in it.
Love that. And obviously, if people made it this through and listened through all this, they're gonna have some strong. If you have opinions on any of this, please, I want to like have a conversation, or I want to hear what people think, or if we're absolutely crazy, let me know too. Like, I might not agree with you, but I'm here to have an open conversation because I believe in everybody's entitled to their opinion and their thought process.
And we could even do like a follow-up episode, like if people have questions, or we're just answering people's questions and like, okay, this is our opinion or context to this clip.
But because because I don't have nearly as much content as you do out there, so I feel like people are getting to know me with every episode. But I stand by my values, stand by my principles. But with you, you get a lot of love on your page, men and women, and you also get a lot of hate and trolls. How do you deal with that? Like, do I notice you make some response videos, but you make it more comedic. It's not. It's never emotional, which I like, because the last right before we jump to the next topic, like if your girl's hella mad at you, or like getting kind of crazy, the last thing you want to do is scream back or lose your lose control of yourself. Yeah. Like, don't match your energy.
Yeah, you can't fight fire with fire.
Exactly. Don't fight fire with fire. And you don't do that at all. Like, if anything, you take it like it's funny, or like even clown on it. Yeah. So how do you deal with trolls and negativity on your page and with what you put out there?
Well, I think I have this really deep understanding that everyone is having a human experience and everyone is at where they're supposed to be in their life. I don't expect people to feel me what I say, especially because 10 years ago, I wouldn't have taken this perspective. 10 years ago, I was looking at life through the lens of my own suffering, the lens of my own pain, the circumstances and adversity that I went through in life. You know, if I would have heard me talk, I would have been like, this bitch is crazy. She has no idea, right? Now it's like I've healed through that. So I understand that people can only feel you to the level that they're at in life. Yeah. And so when people message me talking shit and I go to their page and I see that they're stuck in the victim mentality, or that they're still bitching about life or complaining about this, that, and the other, that to me automatically lets me know that they haven't conquered themselves in their own life yet. Of course, they're not going to feel what I say. Of course, what I say is going to sound crazy to them, right? They ain't even close to getting to know themselves yet.
And to add on your point was, people that are doing stuff in this world, men or women, people that are creating and becoming better people, the last thing they got time for is hate. The last time they got for is to criticize. Even if I see something online that I don't agree with, scroll, next, click off. Like, I never understood people that like watch a whole episode or watch a whole clip. Like, if in the first 10 seconds you're talking crazy, or I can't, like, I just don't like what you're saying, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, unless it's like a topic and I want to see both sides. I like it, like research purposes, right? But if it's just your opinion, and like there's very few people's opinion I really care about, and that's genuinely the people that are close to me. Yeah. But I think haters and trolls, it's kind of I have empathy, and this is something I learned from Gary Vee, is having empathy, because for somebody to take time out of their day to leave a nasty comment or to leave some negativity, you got to understand, like, where are they coming from? Yeah. Or like, where, like, damn, because this whole episode, I really don't feel, we had some jokes, we had some fun, but it's really not to put nobody down. Yeah. It's more to like talk about life experiences. And if anything, like, help men and women, because I feel like we're in an era where women feel like the most lonely and men feel like they're in constant competition, but also like use that to your advantage. I hope there was some value in here and advice too. And I kind of want to turn it out to you. Yeah. What advice do you have for like the ladies or just people? Like, what's something you want them to take away or something you want to put out there?
Yeah, I think my advice for everybody is the best thing that you could do for not only yourself, but for the world, is to get to know yourself better. Challenge your thoughts, challenge your perspective, really analyze yourself and figure out is it really you that feels this way and thinks this way and has these opinions, or was it life that shaped that? And if life shaped you negatively and you view things negatively, you actually have the power to change that. And you could become the person that you put your mind to. Like, you could become anything you want with a little discipline, accountability, and drive. And I think the biggest takeaway from this would just be heal. Heal.
2 eyes, 2 ears. If you have God's gifts, which I think we take for granted, or even our feet, like everything, like it's not over. You can become 1% better every day.
I have this saying, you can't change the cards that life dealt you, but you can change how you play them.
Hey, I just gotta thank you one last time for coming on, telling your story, and like I think the most powerful thing about you is owning your flaws, I guess, or like the cards that life dealt you, and like putting it back and using that to empower people.
Thank you.
Because it's very inspiring to see somebody that's gone through such hardships in life and using it to empower others and uplift others and saying, hey, I was like this, but it didn't have to end like that. Look at what I became today.
Yeah.
And it's very inspirational. And I wish you nothing but the best and many blessings. And thank you for being here.
No, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for having me on. I'm glad we were finally able to do it. It turned out so great.
It did.
I love it. Thank you so much.
And peace. Raza, till the next one.
Bye, guys.